George Stirrett joined the Canadian Light Horse in January of 1915. Let's join him in the last 2 years of the war. In March of 1917, the Hussars finally got a chance to be employed in an offensive role as cavalry. Soon after, I was promoted to lieutenant and given the same troop I had been in as a sergeant. By July of 1918, my squadron was attached to Canadian 3rd Divisional Headquarters. About 9 one morning, the brigade major told me, "Stirrett, we passed our objectives. Lost contact with some of our troops. Take your men, send them out in pairs. Try to contact anyone from 3rd Div. Bring back a message telling me where they are and what they're doing." At that time, we didn't have radio, and our signals had not had time to get out their signals wires. We spent the rest of the day trying to contact forward advancing elements. During this time, we got a report that a German artillery unit had disappeared into a hollow about a mile away. Lieutenant Freddie Taylor, one of our officers, took 6 men and headed out towards where the enemy had been reported. About 2,000 yards ahead of the advancing French infantry, they discovered a German artillery column hidden in an excavation. While one man held the horses, Taylor and the other men moved forward with their rifles to the edge of the bank. From there, they were able to inflict heavy casualties in horses and men, enough to stop the enemy column. When the Germans scattered, Taylor said it was every man for himself, give back the best way they could. This led to Taylor getting the Distinguished Service Order, and the surviving troopers were awarded military medals. On September 27th, we crossed the Canal du Nord and stood to waiting for German resistance to weaken enough to permit cavalry action. Each day we conducted hazardous reconnaissance in order to keep closely in touch with the front line situation and have lines of advance clear of wire and suitable for forward cavalry action. Our casualties were heavy. In late September, I was awarded a military cross. This decoration was given to me as a result of reconnaissance action carried out by my troop on 26 September 1918, north of Saley, and again on 1 October 1918, east of Tulloy. By this time, I had been promoted to captain. At last, on 9th of October 1918, the chance for offensive cavalry action came. Our squadron crossed the only unblown bridge over Escaut Canal at Escamduvres, just north of Cambrai. Here we seized and held a piece of high ground until we were relieved by infantry that night. While this action greatly assisted the advance of the day and many enemy soldiers were taken prisoner, resulted in 2 officers, 24 men, and every horse in our troop being killed. It was at this time that we first saw German tanks in action. When one of my men asked what they were, another replied, "Why, it's an Irish Navy, can't you tell?" A few days later, Major McCune moved north with 2 troops taking a sector about a mile wide. I moved to the south with 2 troops. Our orders were to draw fire from the enemy to show their position. We did this for 6 days, from Da to Valenciennes. On the 3rd day, October 21st, 1918, Major McCune was killed while on reconnaissance. I still have my diary. On the first day I wrote, started contact patrols at Montigny, Las Bliss, Clark, and Thompson, all wounded by machine guns. Not bad, as an infantry attack would have lost 100. On the 4th day I wrote, ran into civilians whom the Germans had not yet had time to clear out. As we rode into village, we trotted down the cobblestone streets. All the windows were drawn and covered. As we reached the village square at the Catholic church, we looked and saw the road full of women, older men, children, filling the road with anything they could wave. Dismounted, and the old priest took me by the ears and kissed me. This started things. The priest kissed the 3 men with me. They all seemed to go crazy at once. They even kissed our horses. Next, the priest called for prayer, and the entire village went to their knees at once, including my men and myself. Armistice came, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918. The infantry formed a static line, and the Canadian Light Horse was reassembled as a regiment. The war was over for us. But there was one more honor for our regiment. Lieutenant Taylor of our regiment commanded the Guard of Honor in the triumphal march over the bridge at Bonn, Germany. Now, so many years later, George Stirrett is no longer alive, but the armory in Sarnia named after him will remind us each day of George Hunter Stirrett, MC, DCM.